Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 12th April 2025. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports for the end of the day 11th April 2025. And these reports are mainly generating for the purpose of premium subscribers, and these reports will be available to all the members after 10 days for your study purpose. Maybe some of you might be using these videos for your swing trades also, any leftover trades. Those details I will be providing in the comment section of the video, how to make use of leftover videos. Even before that, all of you please note, we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. And you know it is a highly expensive training course, but we are providing complete free training, and all the training lessons are already available at our NeoStock YouTube channel. So at our channel homepage, click on the tab Posts. Some of you might be seeing the tab Community. Click on the tab. You get access to this post. This post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into supply demand zone price action course YouTube playlist. And in this playlist I added all the training lessons. And scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here, starting from lesson 1.1, all the training lessons are placed in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one, but according to my training instructions. I provided the training instructions at our Telegram channel. You can access our Telegram channel link in this video description. I provided the link. Go to the video description. Join at our Telegram channel. At the top of the Telegram channel, you can find pinned messages. Go to the pinned messages. One of the pinned messages are having all the training instructions. Please learn this course according to my training instructions. Then only you will become a very good independent trader in the coming months. If you don't follow my instructions and if you learn the course, maybe it may not be effective. You have to spend some good amount of time to become an independent trader. So please practice the concepts as per my instructions. Please do paper trading as per my instructions. Then you will be learning the concepts in a perfect way. So this is what I am recommending to all the members. Okay, now let's get into our report generation with the help of NeoStock Software Supply Demand Zone Price Action Algorithm, software algorithms. The first report I am going to generate NIFTY and then BANKNIFTY Supply Demand Zone Chain. After that, I will find the stocks near demand and supply zones, and we will identify daily and 75 minutes HLQ zones. For the HLQ zone strategy, land in lesson 21. And then we will generate bullish and bearish trade setups that you land in phase 2 training course. And also those strategies I explained in lesson 27. Even lesson 23 also you learned those strategies. 23 and 24. And main strategies, advanced strategies I explained in lesson 27. And finally we will generate stop buffers. So let us start with NIFTY, starting with monthly time frame, generating NIFTY supply demand zone chain for monthly time frame. So this is a NIFTY monthly supply demand zone chain report. Always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. Look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected, and apply the same rules to the remaining reports. And how to make use of NIFTY supply demand zone chain or even BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain, both I explained in detail in lesson 29. I think 29.5 and 29.6 videos. Please refer them. Okay. And also I am giving you very few seconds time to watch the report. I request you pause the video, study the report and move on to the next report. And follow the same instructions for all the supply demand zone chain reports. Okay, I am going back. generating weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Serial number 21 is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. Let me put it in the center so that you know equal number of demand and supply zones. Okay, next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. And all are supply zones. Scrolling the list down to get demand zones. Serial number 33 is having the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. Let me adjust in the center. Okay. This is 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. All are supply zones. I'm scrolling the list down. And here you have serial number 54 is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. I will adjust in the middle. Okay. So this is the 5-minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. With this, we have completed generation of NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Next, we will generate a BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. I'm going back, changing the name to NIFTY Bank. That is nothing but BANKNIFTY. And starting with monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating a weekly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating daily supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Serial number 14 is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. Okay, next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Serial number 22 is the nearest demand zone to the current closing price. So let me put it in the center. Okay. So with this we have completed generation of Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. So both Nifty and Bank Nifty completed. Next we will look into finding the stocks near demand and supply zones, because this is also end of the week at weekly time frame. I will also generate few additional reports. Before that, let me check my process, or top-down analysis process. Yes, it is completed. Good. Because it is completed, let me free some memory by shutting down my database server. Okay, fine. Now let us generate finding the stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames, starting with the yearly time frame. Price closed inside the yearly demand zone. You may ask, are there any stocks near yearly demand and supply zones? There are no stocks we've been seeing for the last, but let us check once. It's been a long time we verified. No stocks near weekly demand zone, and near yearly supply zone also no stocks. Okay, now let us find the stocks. Price closed inside the yearly demand zone. We got 4 stocks. Price closed inside yearly demand zone. You know, I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. You have to pause the video, and also those who are not aware of the structure of this report, you can refer. You can complete lesson 21.1. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, next. Price closed inside the yearly supply zone, no stocks. Next time frame is a half yearly. Stocks near half yearly demand zone. We don't have any stocks. Stocks near half yearly supply zone. Also we don't have any stocks. Price closed inside the half yearly demand zone. We got 6 stocks. Top companies, Reliance, TCS, they are part of this. IRCTC. Inside the half-yearly demand zone. Okay, next. Price closed inside the half-yearly supply zone. We got 4 stocks. Next time frame is quarterly. Stocks near quarterly demand zone. No stocks are available. Stocks near quarterly supply zone. We got 7 stocks. Next, price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. First 23 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down, total 28 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. So I'm going back. The EMA confluence at quarterly, I'm checking quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence or not. And when you are using, when you are using EMA confluence, the trend on the time frame should not be sideways. That is the reason why the trend on the quarterly, we don't want sideways trend. We want either up or down. So 16 stocks are filtered. So TCS is also here, earlier also listed in half yearly. That means it might have been overlapped with half yearly zone. Okay, next quarterly time frame. Quarterly time frame. Price closed inside the quarterly supply zone. We got 8 stocks. We can further filter based on the EMA Confluence. At quarterly time frame, quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA or not, we are checking. At the same time, trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. Out of 6, 3 stocks are filtered. Okay, next time frame is monthly. Stocks near monthly demand zone. We got 6 stocks. Next, stocks near monthly supply zone. We got 10 stocks. Next, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. First 18 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 42 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the monthly demand zone. We can further filter this list based on EMA Confluence. In the EMA Confluence at monthly, we are checking monthly demand zone is having monthly EMA Confluence or not, we are checking. At the same time, trend on the monthly should not be sideways. So it can be up or down. Let's filter. See, now the list is come down to 14 stocks. Even NIFTY is also there. NIFTY monthly demand zone is having monthly EMA Confluence. Okay, next, monthly time frame. Price closed inside the monthly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. And I am scrolling the list down. Total 20 stocks are filtered. And out of these 20, how many monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence? Let us verify. Now list is come down to 16 stocks. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 16 stocks. So these monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA Confluence. This is about monthly time frame, and the next time frame is weekly. Stocks near to the weekly demand zone. We got 4 stocks. Next, stocks near to the weekly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. It seems many stocks are near to the weekly supply zone, including NIFTY and NIFTY Financial Services. NIFTY is near to the pierced supply zone. Any pierced zone strategies on this weekly supply zone might be strong. We may not be knowing. We have seen how strong the pierced zones inside the demand zones in NIFTY. The weekly pierced inside monthly demand zone, we have seen very strong. Okay, now I am scrolling the list down. Total 30 stocks are filtered. Next, price closed inside the weekly demand zone. First 16 stocks in the list. Seems we got a big list. Scrolling the list down. So total 47 stocks are filtered. Now let's verify, out of these 47, how many weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence? Weekly demand zone with weekly EMA filter, and also trend on weekly should not be sideways, it can be up or down. With these filters, we got 5 stocks. See, the big list is reduced to only 5 stocks. Okay, next. Weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly supply zone. First 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 40 stocks are filtered. Now let's verify, out of these 40, how many weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence. And also trend on the weekly should not be sideways, it can be up or down. Now the list is reduced to 17 stocks. So first 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 17 stocks. Okay, we will generate few additional reports on weekly time frame because this is end of the week. Let us look into tested weekly, the stocks tested during this week. Stocks having demand zones. Hundreds weekly demand zones are tested during this week, my God. And then maybe the price closed inside the zone or started moving towards the weekly supply zone. Scrolling the list down, even Nifty 50, Nifty Bank, Nifty Financial Services, how many total? 12 out of 17, 12 indices are tested during this week. Scrolling the list down. So total 100 stocks are filtered. Next, let us look into the stocks having tested weekly supply zones. So these 7 stocks having supply zones are tested during this week. Okay. Next, we will look into newly created zones during this week. First, let us find the stocks having newly created weekly demand zones. 13 stocks. These 13 stocks are having newly created weekly demand zones. Mostly these demand zones are newly created if the timestamp is same in all the stocks, but there are some LOTL zones might be created. If that is the case, the outer zone will display because our software always displays stocks near to the current closing price. Suppose if you see any timestamp is different, see here the timestamp is different, not this week timestamp. That means inside this zone, a new LOTL zone is created. If you open the chart, you will find a LOTL zone inside this. That is how you should understand. Except this scenario, remaining mostly, all these remaining stocks could be the recently created zones, the demand zones. These are the demand zones, sorry, not supply zones. You should look into the demand zones. This demand zone is created, older one, but inside LOTL zone will be there. So that way you can identify LOTL zones also. Okay, next, weekly time frame. Let us find the stocks having newly created weekly supply zones. These 7 stocks are having newly created weekly supply zones. Look into the timestamp 17.3. See 17.3, sorry, not this one here. 7.4, not 17.3, 7.4, leg out. All the supply zones created during this week. Okay. See, always displays the open candle date, not closing candle. In any, it is a standard in technical analysis. In any charts, the candle open date will be displayed. Look into trading view also or any other chart applications. They always displays opening the date of the candle on the charts. Okay, this is about a weekly time frame and two more reports also based on the zone confluence. That is LTF, ITF. Let us assume weekly is the LTF. So I am selecting weekly. ITF is monthly. HTF is quarterly. All the 3 zone confluence supported stocks let us display. First, demand zone confluence. So weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence filter enabled. Weekly with quarterly demand zone confluence and monthly with quarterly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 zone confluence, let us check how many stocks we are getting. So first 15 stocks we got. Both Nifty and BANKNIFTY are also having zone confluence. Weekly, daily, monthly zone confluence is there. Excellent. That means order flow could be very much stronger in those zones. Scrolling the list down. So total 36 stocks are filtered. Out of these 36, how many, because weekly and monthly are part of the quarterly, let us check how many quarterly zones are having quarterly EMA confluence. Probably those weekly zones might be having much stronger order flows in that scenario. So I'm going back in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame because weekly together with monthly are overlapped with quarterly. That's why I'm checking quarterly demand zone is having quarterly EMA confluence. But as you know, EMA confluence is effective only in the trending market but not in sideways. So that's why on quarterly time frame, the trend I am not selecting sideways, I am selecting only up or down. With these filters, now the list is come down to 21 stocks. So first 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down, total 21 stocks are filtered. Okay. So this is about demand zone confluence. Next we will look into supply zone confluence on weekly time frame, entry time frame. Weekly, monthly and quarterly supply zone confluence. Let us set up those values. I mean the filters. So weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence filter enabled. Weekly with quarterly filter is also enabled. And monthly supply zone with quarterly supply zone filter also just enabled. With all the 3 filters, we got 6 stocks. In these 6 stocks, a weekly supply zone overlapped with the monthly, both together again overlapped with quarterly. So you should look into the supply zones. Because of the overlap, the order flow could be much stronger. the weekly overlap in all these zones. If we want to confirm if the weekly is having even much stronger based on EMA, let us set the EMA Confluence on quarterly time frame. Because weekly and monthly are overlapped with quarterly, so we are checking in the quarterly supply zone is having quarterly EMA Confluence or not. At the same time, trend on the quarterly should not be sideways, so we are setting up or down. Now two stocks are filtered. Probably these two weekly supply zones might be having much stronger order flows. See, maybe that is the reason why, see, it is already tested 8 times or maybe 9 times with rejection count including. UPL is already tested 6 times even though it is pierced once. Can apply pierced zone strategies on UPL if any is applicable, if any strategy is applicable. So this is how we can analyze the stocks. Okay, this is weekly time frame. Next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks near to the daily demand zone. We got 12 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity daily demand zones from this list. Federal Bank is having a high liquidity daily demand zone. That's it. We got only one high liquidity daily demand zone from this list. Okay, next. For daily time frame, let us find the stocks near to the daily supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 20 stocks filtered. So let us identify high liquidity daily supply zones from this list. We don't consider NIFTY Private Bank because it is not listed in F&O. So ignoring this high liquidity zone. Same is the case with NIFTY PSU and also it is pierced also. Either way we can't consider this. Next one is Aarti Industries. This is the first valid zone. Okay. Aarti Industries is the first valid daily high liquidity supply zone. Next one is Canara Bank. Divi slab is not valid because it is a pierced zone. And the next valid is Laurus Labs. And the next valid is Sriram Finance. That's it. Let me put all the high liquidity zones in the same frame. Aarti Industries is the first one, right? Yeah, starting with. So total 4 high liquidity daily supply zones we identified from this list. Aarti Industries, Canara Bank, Laurus Labs and Sriram Finance. Okay. Next, price closed inside the daily demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Let us verify out of these 14 how many daily demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence. Daily demand zone with daily EMA and also trend on the daily should not be sideways. It can be up or down. So we got only 2 stocks out of 14. And third one is a pierced zone. So those who are studied pierced zone strategies, you may look into this stock. If any of the pierced zone strategies are applicable to you, you can plan your trades. That is the way these reports will be helpful to you. I mean, finding the pierced zones. Okay, next, for daily time frame, price closed inside the daily supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 44 stocks are filtered. Price closed inside the daily supply zone. Out of these 44, how many daily supply zones are having daily EMA Confluence? We should filter. So in the EMA Confluence at daily time frame, I am checking daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence or not. At the same time, the trend on daily should not be sideways. It can be up or down. With these filters, the list is come down to 12 stocks. So this is about a daily time frame. The next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 20 stocks are filtered. Okay, next. Stocks near to the 125 minute supply zone. We got 12 stocks. Okay, next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near to the 75 minutes demand zone. We got 10 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. Angel 1 is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. Coforge is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. Ultra Cement is having 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. So we have identified 3 75 minutes high liquidity demand zones from this list. Next, 75 minutes time frame. Let us find the stocks near to the 75 minute supply zone. We got 14 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity supply zones. First one, NIFTY consumers is not valid because it is not listed in F&O. JSW still is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. Laurus Labs is having a 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone. That's it. We identified 2 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones. Laurus Labs also we got in daily high liquidity supply zone, right? Laurus Labs. Check, let us check in daily. See, daily also it is near to the, that means probably that 75 is might have been overlapped with the daily supply zone. See here, 14, Laurus Labs stocks near 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone, and also 75 minutes also near 75 minutes supply zone. We have this Laurus Labs. Okay. So in 75 minutes, 3 stocks we identified. 75 minute stocks near 75 minutes supply zone. I think 2 only, not 3. First one is invalid. This is the first one. Laurus Labs, second one. After that, we don't have anything. So we identified 2 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. Okay, next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 15 stocks. Next, stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got 6 stocks. Next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We got 7 stocks. We can further filter based on zone confluence. 15 minutes with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. Okay, next 15 minutes time frame. Stocks near 15 minutes supply zone. We got 2 stocks. Let us verify the zone confluence on these 2 stocks. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. With this filter, out of 2, we got 1 stock. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. We got 9 stocks. Let us filter based on 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence. With this filter, we got 2 stocks. Okay, next 5 minutes time frame. Stocks near 5 minutes supply zone. We got 9 stocks. We can further filter based on 5 minutes and 15 minutes supply zone confluence. With this filter, we got 4 stocks. So these are the stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Next, we will generate bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly, daily and hourly income trades. For bullish trade setup, monthly income trade, entry time frame is daily. Entry zone is a demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame daily, I am selecting bullish. Zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. With these filters, we got 8 stocks. Remember, daily we are not filtering PR-set zones. 75 minutes entry time frame onwards, we will filter. Because the daily PR-set zone strategies might be effective. You can, those who are interested in PR-set zones, you can apply. Here few stocks might be having PR-set zones. Okay, out of these 8, let us identify high probability trade setup supported stocks based on the zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is a daily and a weekly demand zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter with zone confluence. Out of 8, we got 6 stocks. In all the 6 stocks, the daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zone. And weekly trend is uptrend in all the stocks. Let us verify if any of the weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence. In that case, the overlapped daily demand zones might be having more high probability to get success. So that's why in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I am selecting weekly demand zone is having weekly EMA confluence or not. Now 4 stocks are filtered. These 4 might be having more high probability to get success. These daily demand zones. But you have to use the first 3 only. 4th one is a PR-set zone that you can use only for PR-set zone strategies. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and even HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. Removing ITF specific EMA filter, now we should focus on HTF specific. So in the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter, daily weekly zone confluence is already enabled. So next, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence and weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zone. Again, both together are overlapped with monthly demand zone. And that monthly trend is having uptrend, HTF. Because the daily together with weekly are overlapped with monthly, so the daily zone is having much stronger order flow. If the monthly is having monthly EMA confluence, then the overlapped these daily zones might be having even much more high probability to get success. Remember, it is only a probability game. We can't guarantee, nothing we can guarantee in stock market, that you should not forget. Based on probability, we take our chances. So what we are doing, we are setting EMA confluence on the monthly time frame. So by setting monthly demand zone, having monthly EMA confluence or not, we are applying this filter on those who filter 2 stocks, because the 2 stocks are having monthly trend as uptrend. So both are filtered. That means both these stocks are having even more high probability to get success. Always look into the search strategy to understand how we are filtering the stocks. If any mistakes we make, you can find the mistakes in the search strategy. Sometimes by mistake, I may select a wrong filter. At the time, report will change. So that's why always before using any zones, look into the search strategy and then confirm. If anything wrong, you can put in the comment section of this video. If you can't access this private video, you can put the other videos comment section immediately, or you can send message to Money. He will inform me so that I can generate new reports if I make any mistakes. Okay, this is bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Let us generate the reports. So entry time frame is daily, entry zone is supply zone, and in bullish or bearish trade setup at daily, I am selecting bearish, and the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone, and minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. So with these filters, we got 8 stocks. These 8 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade, and entry time frame zones are these daily supply zones. These are the entry time frame zones. Out of these 8 stocks, how many are having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on the zone confluence. First filter, daily and weekly supply zone confluence. Because it is bearish trade setup, we should look into supply zone confluence. So my entry time frame daily zone should overlap with weekly zone. Then only daily zone order flow could be much stronger. So by enabling the filter, out of 8 stocks, we got all 8 stocks. That means in all the 8 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zones. And also weekly trend is a downtrend. So if any of the weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence, then the overlapped daily supply zones might be having even much more stronger success rate. So let's filter based on the EMA confluence on weekly time frame by setting filter. Weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. Now the list is come down to 6 stocks. So these 6 stocks might be having more high probability to get success. So this is how you should understand these reports. Okay, next we will filter based on LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks, that is daily, weekly and monthly supply zone confluence. So I'm going back, removing this EMA filter because it is ITF specific, and in the supply zone confluence now I have to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, daily with weekly. Next, daily with monthly supply zone confluence and weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 5 stocks. In these 5 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zones. Both together overlapped with monthly supply zones. That way these daily supply zones order flow could be much stronger. But monthly trend is sideways. So that is the reason why I can't further filter based on the EMA confluence. Because filtering EMA confluence and sideways trend does not give any advantage. Okay. So this is bullish trade setup for, this is bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. So we have completed monthly income trade reports. Next we will look into weekly income trade reports. So first, bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone, demand zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 75 minutes. I am selecting bullish. Next, zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And also 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So that's why in the pierced count parameter, this is the pierced count parameter, and the entry time frame, that is 75 minutes, I have to set minimum value 0, maximum value 0. The meaning is the pierced count should be 0 on this 75 minutes demand zone, because we selected earlier the demand zone 75 minutes. So filters will be applied whatever we selected at the top. See, at the top we selected 75 minutes demand zone. So on this 75 minutes demand zone only 3 filters applied. Which 3 filters? That is pierced count, zone achievement and minimum odd enhancer score. All 3 filters will be applied to whatever you selected here. If you don't select demand zone or supply zone, then what will happen? Filters will be applied on both the sides. If any one condition satisfies, it will give. That's why you should carefully select these filters. Okay, at present I'm carefully selecting. Maybe in future, if you get access to the software, at the time carefully you have to select these filters. Okay, with these filters, we got 6 stocks. See, none of the demand zones are pierced. Supply zones are maybe pierced or may not be pierced, because we didn't set any filter on supply zone. Our interest is on the demand zones because they are the entry time frame zones. Because in bullish trade setup, weekly income trade, the entry time frame is 75 minutes demand zones. All these are all 75 minutes demand zones. Here we selected the entry time frame is 75 minutes. And the entry zone is demand zones. That way you have to understand this search strategy filters. Okay, out of these 6, currently they are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Out of 6, how to identify high probability supported 75 minutes demand zones? If these 75 minutes demand zones overlapped with the daily demand zone, that is ITF time frame, then probably 75 minutes order flow is much stronger because it is overlapped with its higher time frame, that is ITF time frame, daily. So that's why let us filter based on 75 minutes demand zone confluence with daily demand zone. So I'm enabling this filter. By applying the filter, we got 5 stocks. All these 5 75 minutes demand zones might be having much stronger order flow. And now also at the same time, at daily, the trend is up in all the stocks. because 75 is overlapped with the daily demand zone, and if the daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence, then the overlapped 75 minutes demand zone might be having much stronger order flow. This entry time frame zones. Let's verify. So in the EMA confluence at daily time frame, I am setting the filter. Daily demand zone is having daily EMA or not, we are checking. Anyway, trend is uptrend. We got two stocks. So probably these two 75 minutes demand zones might be having high probability to get success. Okay, next we will look into LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. So let's go back, removing EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, three filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 75 with daily. Next 75 minutes demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. Daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, we got two stocks. So in these two stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones overlapped with daily demand zone. Again, both together overlapped with weekly demand zone. But weekly trend is up in only one stock. If this stock is having weekly EMA confluence, probably the overlapped 75 minutes demand zone might be having strong order flow. That way we are selecting high probability trade setup zone. Let us verify. This is having weekly EMA Dixon. In the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, I am setting weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence or not. But EMA confluence should not be applied to sideways trend. One stock is having sideways trend. We have to eliminate that stock. So that's why in the weekly time frame, I am checking the trend should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. Let's filter. So that one stock is filtered. See, uptrend it is having, and also this stock is having weekly demand zone, having weekly EMA confluence. If it is not satisfied, this would not have been filtered, this demand zone. So here entry time frame is demand zone. So this is a bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes demand zone. Okay, next let us look into bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. For bearish trade setup, entry time frame 75 minutes and entry zone should be supply zone, bearish trade setup. And in bullish or bearish trade setup at entry time frame 75 minutes, I am selecting bearish. And zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And this 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0 and maximum value 0. So with these filters, we got 14 stocks. Okay. All these 14 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. And entry time frame zones are these 75 minutes supply zones up to here. So we have 14 75 minute supply zones supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Out of these 14 75 minute supply zones, how many might be having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on the supply zone confluence. So in the supply zone confluence, I am setting the filter entry time frame 75 minutes, right? 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. That means 75-minute supply zone should overlap with daily supply zone. That way 75-minute supply zone might be having strong order flow. So we identified 12 stocks. In all these 12 stocks, 75-minute supply zones overlapped with daily supply zone. And the daily trend is down in all these stocks because it is bearish trade setup. See the ITF trend? Because 75 minutes overlapped with the daily supply zone and daily trend is down, and if the daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence, then the overlapped 75 minute supply zone might be having even much more stronger order flow to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, checking we are daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence because 75 minute supply zone overlapped with the daily supply zone. So let's filter. We got 5 stocks. So these 5 75-minute supply zones might be having much more strong order flow compared to the other stocks. That way we are saying these zones might be having more success, might be having. Okay, but this is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. Next we will look into LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. Going back, removing this ITF EMA confluence filter, let us focus on HTF now. So in the supply zone confluence, you need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, 75 with daily supply zone confluence. Next 75 with weekly supply zone confluence, daily supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 5 stocks. In these 5 stocks, the 75-minute supply zones are overlapped with daily supply zone. Both together again overlapped with weekly supply zone. And weekly trend, HTF trend is down in 3 stocks. Out of these 3, if any of the weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence, then the overlapped 75-minute supply zones inside weekly might be having even much more strong order flow. And they might be having much more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, at a weekly time frame, I'm checking weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence or not. And some of the stocks weekly trend is sideways. So we should not use those stocks while filtering because EMA does not work in sideways trend. So that's why I'm selecting the trend as a downtrend because it is bearish trade setup. Let's filter. So we got 2 stocks. See, in both the stocks, weekly trend is downtrend. Both the stocks, see the weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. In both the stocks, the 75-minute zone is overlapped with daily and also it is overlapped with weekly. Not only that, even daily is also overlapped with weekly. That is what all 3 are overlapped with each other. So with these filters, we got 2 stocks. That way these 2 75-minute supply zones might be having more probability to get success. Maybe that is the reason why this zone is already tested twice. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, we will look into daily income trade supported stocks. For daily income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at a 15 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting bullish. And the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And also, this 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. In the pierced count parameter at 15 minutes entry time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0 and maximum value 0 with these filters because all the 3 filters. applied to 15 minutes demand zone. So we got 6 stocks. These 6 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade. And all the entry time frame zones should be 15 minutes demand zones. These are all 15 minutes demand zones and entry time frame zones. Out of these 6 15 minutes demand zones, how many might be having even more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on zone confluence. First filter is LTF ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I enabled the filter. After applying the filter, we got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 minutes trend is up in all the 4 stocks. So that's why if the 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence, then these 15 minutes demand zones might be having more high probability to get success. Let's filter. "15 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence or not," we are checking. One stock is filtered. Probably this 15 minutes demand zone might be having more high probability to get success. This is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence and also ITF EMA confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence and 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence. That is the strategy. Next strategy is LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. After that, HTF EMA confluence. So I am removing this EMA filter specific to ITF. Now we should focus on HTF. So in the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 15 minutes with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Next filter is 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence, 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. In both the stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. Both together again overlapped with daily demand zone. But daily trend is up in only one stock. And in this stock, if daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence, then this overlapped 15 minutes demand zone might be having more probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, I am checking daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence or not. At the same time, the trend on the daily should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. Let's filter. We got that one stock filtered. Maybe this demand zone might be having even more high probability to get success. We're not saying 100% probability. We are saying more probability compared to the other stocks. Okay. So this is a bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone, supply zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame. I am selecting bearish. And then zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And also 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So that's why in the pierced count parameter, this is pierced count parameter at 15 minutes entry time frame, setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. With these filters, we got 9 stocks. All these 9 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zones. These are all 15 minute supply zones. Even Nifty Bank is also there. Okay, out of these 9, how many of these 15-minute supply zones are having more high probability to get success? That is what we should filter. So the first filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. Let us filter. In the supply zone confluence, I am adding the filter 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. I enabled the filter. By applying the filter on those 9 stocks, we got 8 stocks. In all these 8 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. And also 75 minutes trend is down in all these stocks. If any of these 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, probably these 15 minute supply zones might be having even more high probability to get success. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence at the 75 minutes time frame, I am checking 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence or not. So with this filter, we did not get any stocks. Okay, fine. Next, let us look into LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. Remove EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we have to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. Next filter, 15 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. And then 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, we got 4 stocks. In all the 4 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are overlapped with 75 minute supply zones and both together again overlapped with daily supply zones. Even NIFTY is also having. That means these 15 minute supply zones are fine-tuned supply zones in daily. That is how you should understand. But in daily, none of the daily stocks are having trend, downtrend. None of them are having. All are sideways. So sideways trend EMA confluence filter checking does not give any extra value. That's why we are not filtering based on EMA confluence. Let's limit to only zone confluence. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. So with this, we have completed daily income trade reports. Next, we will generate hourly income trade reports. First, hourly income trade bullish trade setup. Entry time frame is 5 minutes. Entry zone is a demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 5 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. And zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum order enhances score 12. And 5 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 5 minutes time frame, I am checking minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 9 stocks. All these 9 are currently supporting bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. And entry time frame zones are 5 minutes demand zones. Always remember, the hourly income trade success rate is very low. That's why you should be very careful. And you can look for hourly income trade zones, ITF zones overlapped with ITF. When they are violated, you can look for TCO strategies, trend change origin. That is what you learned in lesson 25. They are somewhat effective. They may give you some good trade opportunities. Of course, they will also fail some, but at least success rate is better compared to this. I'm not saying these zones will always fail. They will success, but success rate is not very great. That is what you should understand. If you carefully plan, then maybe some success you will see in this bullish and bearish for hourly income trade. If those zones are in the right location, even in the higher time frames beyond 75 minutes, then you may see success. So you have to do a lot of top-down analysis, and you are yet to learn top-down analysis concepts. You will be learning in the coming weeks or coming months. Okay, this is about a bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. Next, we will further filter based on the zone confluence to look for high probability to get success. First one is 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence, that is LTF, ITF zone confluence. We got 5 stocks. 5-minute zones overlapped with 15-minute zones. And none of the 15-minute zones are having daily EMA confluence. I already verified, so no need to check. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF, HTF zone confluence supported stocks. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes, and then 5 minutes with 75 minutes demand zone confluence, and also 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 3 stocks. That means these 5 minutes demand zones are fine-tuned zones inside the 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 minute zones also not having any EMA confluence on daily, especially uptrend stocks. I already verified, no need to verify. Because both hourly bullish and bearish, none of the stocks are having EMA confluence. Only zone confluence we will verify. So this is bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. Let's go back. Changing the entry zone to supply zone, and also I am changing this bullish or bearish trade setup on 5 minutes to bearish. Remaining filters are same what we said earlier. We can reuse them, but this time filters will be applied to 5 minutes supply zone. Earlier they applied to 5 minutes demand zone because we selected demand zone. Now we changed that zone to supply zone. The same 3 filters: Peers to count, zone achievement, and minimum odd enhancer score. Now this time they are applied to 5 minute supply zone. Based on that, let us filter. We got only 2 stocks. Let us check out of these 2, any of them are having ITF supply zone confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes supply zone confluence. I think one mistake we made, I didn't remove these filters. Demand zone filters, I have to remove. Without removing these filters I generated, please ignore the previous bearish trade setup report. Let me regenerate again. Actually 9 we got. The 5 minutes entry time frame supply zone. No filters here, only bearish trade setup and pierced zone filter, and also odd enhancer filter. No zone confluence filter. So 9 stocks we got. Out of these 9, how many are having supply zone confluence we have to filter? Out of these 9, first one is a 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone confluence. This is the one. We got 7 stocks. All these demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. EMA filter I am not applying because no stocks are filtered. So I am going back. You might be asking a question. How do I know there are no EMA filter? Actually today morning I recorded the video without put on the video recorder on. Nearly 1.5 hours I recorded, and finally I came to know the video is not, recording is not enabled after 1.5 hours. I am upset. I am tired after. So now actually you would have got this video in the morning, today morning. Because of the mistake, now I am anyway. Tomorrow and the day after to Monday are holidays. I thought maybe a little delay also won't be a big problem for you. I thought like that. Otherwise, I would have recorded in the morning itself. Supply zone, 3 filters. This is the first filter. Second filter, 5 minutes with 75 minutes zone confluence. 15 minutes with 75 minutes zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. These 2 are overlapped zones. These 2 5 minutes supply zones. They are overlapped inside 75 minutes supply zone. So this is hourly income trade reports. And finally, Stop buffers based on daily ATR. First 17 in this list indices, remaining all are equity stocks, and I'll be giving you only few seconds while scrolling the list down. So any stock you want to refer, pause the video. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for our further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.